What's going on, all you constant listeners out there? Welcome to the Demon Slayer Planet podcast, I believe it's episode 3. I'm your host, Brianford16, and in this episode, I'm going to be reviewing the episode, The Bright Red Sword. Welcome back to the Demon Slayer Planet podcast. If you're new to this YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button and also like this video, hit the bell icon for any updates to the episodes. And if you're listening to a platform like Apple, Spotify, or iHeart, please definitely subscribe to this channel and also leave a comment, since that will help with that will pretty much help with getting this notice. So, a little recap on the Bright Red Sword. Basically, it's gonna go over with you. I'm not gonna spoil it too much though, but if you haven't seen the episode yet, I suggest that you go back and watch the episode. To me, it was a real awesome episode, and I'm going to just do a little recap. So basically, Tokito, Kotetsu, and Mr. Kanroji are on the run, and they run to the upper demon upper 5. Tanjiro and Nezuko are taking on the upper 4 clones along with Genya, and Mitsuri Kanroji makes her debut, revealing her Love Breathing and also a pretty unique sword that she has. And then you also got Tokito's memories being unlocked as he's fighting upper 5, and I'm trying to get a sense of who he is as a demon slayer and also as a person as well, or where he came from actually, and more of his character development, which I'll go into later on. And that also we see Tanjiro's sword go through a drastic change with the help of Nezuko. So and also unexpectedly someone becomes a demon, and that's Genya, and we're gonna go into more of that as well, much to Tanjiro's horror. So that's the recap. Now we're gonna get into the good that went into this episode as part of this review. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there was a whole lot of good in this episode. It was just all about swords and blades, basically. We got to see Tanjiro's blade, we got to see Mitsuri's blade, and we didn't really get a glimpse of the blade that Mr. Kanroji was working on for Tokito. I mean, I actually honestly thought that the title of this episode, The Bright Red Sword, had to do with the Sengoku blade that found in the second episode, a blade from 300 years ago. However, there was a lot of swords involved. I mean, one of them being Mitsuri's sword, which is kind of like a whip-like sword, if you will. It's really flexible and it attacks multiple enemies. I thought that was really cool. And then we got Tanjiro's bright red sword that was made from Nezuko's blood. I thought it was really awesome because, well, actually, first of all, I want to, speaking of swords, the title itself, The Bright Red Sword, was a huge swerve. And I say that because I really thought it was going to be about the Sengoku sword, but it turned out it was about Tanjiro's sword. So going a little bit into that, and Tanjiro's sword triggered inherited memory that Kotetsu talked about in an earlier episode of Tanjiro's ancestor talking to this woman, I believe who was also his ancestors too as well. They were talking about how a samurai sword turns red when he's in the heat of battle, and it goes back to Tanjiro and Nezuko's battle against the upper 4 demons and his clones, and how she's using her blood to make his black sword transform into a red sword. And he does like the fire breathing Kanomami Kagura head dance that kills almost all the upper 4 clones. And also, in addition to all those clones being killed, Genya also kills a clone, and Tanjiro kind of wonders, gee, did it happen at the same time? I mean, did we basically defeat another upper level demon? Because if we did, that'd be great, But then, lo and behold, Genya is a demon himself, and I kind of wanted to know what drove him to be a demon. Because, the thing about the demons and demon slayers is just that they don't become demons right off the bat. I mean, Genya had to do something, or had to have some kind of pact. I don't know. But I found the red the Tanjiro's sword really interesting, and also to how it not only unlocked Tanjiro's memories, but how it also unlocked the memory of Upper 4 as he recalled Tanjiro sharing the similarities with the swordsman, the mysterious swordsman from Tanjiro's dreams. And Upper 4 mentions too that same swordsman almost beheaded Muzan. Now I'm thinking that if that swordsman really is Upper 1, Upper 1 had to do something really jacked up to become a demon, I think, in my opinion. Or had some kind of pact with him, because, who knows? So, moving on from Tanjiro and his bright red sword, we have Mitsuri, and she's really a talented Hashira. She's not just all flowery as many guys view her. She's not just a pretty face. She's actually pretty talented, and she's really strong. Despite her bubbly persona, she's a really formative demon slayer, and we see this when she is coming to the aid of the Swordsmith village that's being attacked by these fish-like, frog-like Magikarp demons. And she just uses her sword and unsheaths it, and at first I thought it was just like a typical Nichiren blade, where she just whacks every demon with her speed and her agility. But then it turns out that her sword is uniquely flexible. Like I mentioned before, it was a uniquely flexible sword, and it attacks her foes in all forms, and she even saves the village chief. And there's some little hilarious banter going on between the two. And yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting also. And another good highlight of the episode too. And of course, I have to mention Tokito, Muichiro Tokito. He's actually become a favorite character of mine, and his character development just continues to amaze me. And he got his. I have to say that Muichiro Tokito, to me, he's the MVP of Demon Slayer Season 3. He's kind of like the Bo-Katan of Demon Slayer, because to me, Bo-Katan, I'm a Star Wars fan, okay? So Bo-Katan in The Mandalorian, she's the MVP of Season 3 of Mandalorian. So Tokito kind of shares that title in Demon Slayer to me, because he's just an amazing character. He's really interesting. And the reason why I say that is because as he's fighting against Upper 5, who I'll also get into a little bit, he becomes more selfless, right, as he's protecting Kanamori and Kotetsu, the two swordsmith villagers, and becomes less pragmatic, because even though he still is a little bit arrogant, he's becoming a little more selfless. He becomes a little more acknowledging of people helping him out. When Mr. Kanamori mentions that Tanjiro advised him to look after his sword, so he seems really touched and shocked by that. He also displays his selflessness too when Upper 5's demons try to kill Kanamori and Kotetsu. He does so by risking his own body and his own life, and he's just still standing. Also, Upper 5 triggers a memory from Tokito's past when Upper 5 calls him worthless, and we see a glimpse of Tokito's childhood, where he was also called worthless. So hopefully in the next couple episodes, we get to see more of that, which I'm pretty sure we will. I have no doubt we're going to see more of his childhood unravel, which I think is going to be really cool. Now, moving on to Upper 5 himself, his blood demon art is just one of a kind. It's pretty unique. It's based on art, but it's really grotesque too, obviously, since after all he is a demon. And we see a sample of this actually on episode 3, a sword from over 300 years ago. And it's where he uses a vase, or a vase, to suck in a swordsmith villager. And we see this power in its full entirety when we see the same swordsmith villager along with other villagers that Upper 5 attacked. And they're all in pain, they're all withering much, and I think Upper 5 did this blood demon art as a way to not only obviously attack Tokito, but to also instill fear on Kotetsu and Kanamori, because they're clearly horrified. But Kotetsu surprisingly wants to actually go after Upper 5 and avenge his fellow villagers. And it's so sad too, because in this particular scene, Upper 5 uses a sword and just hurts the poor villagers that are trapped in his blood demon art. And again, it's a way to instill fear. Having said all that, I'm going to go into the issues, and basically, I didn't really have any issues with this episode. This was actually a really great episode. I think it's starting to unfold everything. It's starting to unravel everything about unravel the entire Swordsmith Village arc. And actually, it's one of my favorites, in my opinion. Though, I have to wonder how Nezuko woke up carrying Tanjiro, because in the last episode, they were knocked out, okay, by the upper 4 demons. So, it's going to lead me straight to the final verdict. Now, the final verdict, this episode gets a perfect 10. I really liked it. It just did it for me, as it finally was getting to the core, like I said, it was getting to the core of the story and what is to come. I want to say that the last 3 episodes I feel walked so that way this episode itself could run. That's how I feel about it. It was really that cool of an episode. And of course, I have a couple of questions. Genya's demonic form, how did he really become a demon? I mean, again, like, I have to wonder what got him to that point. Was he just infected? Did he just, like, made a pact? Is it because he has some kind of jealousy towards Tanjiro? Because, I mean, in the very first season of Demon Slayer, both those guys didn't get along too well. And even then, when Tanjiro tried to extend his hand of friendship, Genya just kicked him out. So there's gonna be some explanation behind that. And hopefully we find out more about Tokito's past and see more of his character development, as well as I hope to see more character development with Mitsuri Kanroji as well. And I'm also curious as to the connection between Tanjiro Kamado and, Nezuko, and also the mysterious swordsman, and the mysterious sword, and also to see if this mysterious swordsman is indeed the upper 1 demon, and how he himself became a demon. Because if he was the guy that nearly beheaded Muzan, as upper 4 mentioned, if he and the upper 1 demon are the same guy, one has to wonder, like, how he became a demon at the service of the Demon King. One has to wonder. So that's going to do it for the review of the Bright Red Sword. Thank you so much all for listening. And if you're new to this podcast and if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the bell icon, and obviously like this video and comment. And also, if you're listening to this on a podcast platform like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio, please subscribe to the podcast, and that way that will help spread the word. So thank you so much all for listening, and as I always say episode awesome. This is Brian Vert 16 signing out.